You can't think your way out of overthinking. And trust me, I've tried way too many times. Recently, I was stuck in overthinking to the extent that I was receiving a strong headache because I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find the answers. I remember moments in the past where I was overthinking so much that I grabbed a pillow, I put my head in it, and I screamed as loud as I could just to quiet that voice in my mind. Because I didn't want to listen to it, I did not know how to stop it and how to break that loop of overthinking. And this is the question that I want to explore with you in this video. Because overthinking and thinking about the overthinking, this is holding you back in life. Of course, to achieve the things that you want to achieve, but this is also affecting your experience of life on a day-to-day basis. And you can feel the heaviness, you can feel the fear and anxiety when you're overthinking. You can feel out of control. You're not processing life clearly anymore. You're not seeing life clearly anymore. So in this video, I'll share with you how to break that loop of overthinking, and especially how I did this recently when I was stuck in overthinking. And I want to start with the question, why are you overthinking in the first place? To create some deeper understanding here. And when I say I am overthinking, this is also not completely correct, because I already want to create a separation between you and the overthinking, because there's a part of you that is overthinking and the I is observing. So this is already where you create a separation between you and the overthinking. So the question is, why is that part overthinking so much? And the answer is very simple, because that part is desperately and anxiously looking for control. It wants to feel in control. So it's looking for certainty, it's looking for understanding, for answers, for safety. But it all comes down to it wants to feel in control of life. So that's why you start overthinking things about the future, because you want to know and you want to be certain that you're going to be okay. If I take this step, what is going to happen? What is going to happen here? And you start to overthink all the possible scenarios. And this is why you also start to overthink all the worst case scenarios, because you want to be certain that, am I going to be okay? Are things going to be working out as I want to? And this is where you're trying to prevent pain and all of these things. So you overthink the future, but you are also overthinking your feelings and your thinking itself. Because this is also where you're trying to be in control of your thinking and your feelings. Even where it gets crazy, you try to overthink situations about the past. Because you want to feel in control about something that already happened. Because maybe it was an uncomfortable situation, maybe something negative happened, and you try to feel in control by overthinking about it. Maybe you see it differently. Maybe you access a different answer. Maybe you can let go of this negativity when you are thinking about it so much. And this is where you experience the sense of control because you're thinking about it. You're constantly ruminating on it. And the tricky situation is that the part, like I described, that is overthinking so much, now starts to overthink about the overthinking. Because you are aware that you're overthinking. You want to break this pattern. You are sick and tired of overthinking. Now, how do you stop overthinking? You start to think about the overthinking. Because maybe if you can find that answer, if you can find that idea, if you can find a different angle that you couldn't see before, if you think harder about the answers, and when you finally receive the answers, then the overthinking is gone. But like I said, the tricky situation is that the part that is trying to fix the overthinking is actually the one keeping you stuck. It's actually the one creating the overthinking. And I really want you to get that, because that part, when I create the separation in the beginning about the overthinking, that part is anxiously looking for control. So when you are observing that you are overthinking and now you try to fix the overthinking, the same part that is anxiously looking for control now tries to control the overthinking. And this is why you can't think your way out of overthinking. You will stay stuck in overthinking forever, trying to think your way out of it. And when people say things like, you have to control your thoughts and you have to control your feelings, like, show me a single human being that is controlling his thoughts, that is controlling his feelings. Like, your thoughts and feelings are so chaotic. They are so unpredictable. They're kind of predictable as well, but good luck controlling this. Like, you can't control what is happening here. You can influence it, you can control your response to it, but you can't control the thoughts and feelings itself. And this is exactly the part that is keeping you stuck, this desperate need for control. And I really want you to keep that in mind, because this is also part of the solution and how to break the loop of overthinking. It's all related to this need for control. So this is how I broke this loop recently of overthinking. And the metaphor that I'm going to use for this is the one of a snow globe. So just imagine you have a snow globe and you start shaking the snow globe. This is when the snow starts floating around like crazy. And you can see, and you can say that the snow, in this case, is your thinking, and you shaking is you thinking about the overthinking, is you trying to do something with these thoughts. You shaking is you holding on to these thoughts and feeling like you're in control. And now you're shaking more and more and more. And now you're frustrated, like, why can't I get rid of this overthinking? It's because you keep on shaking the snow globe. So just imagine that you put the snow globe down. You put it down for a moment. You just stop shaking and you observe. And this is a very uncomfortable process, to put down the snow globe, because it gives you that feeling that I'm out of control. Even though the contradicting thing is you are already out of control, but now it really gives you the feeling like I can't control this. I'm not the one shaking anymore. So when you put it down, when you put the snow globe down, what happens? What happens to the snow? Like, the snow still moves around chaotically. And that's the uncomfortable part, because now you start observing what is actually happening here. You start to observe the snow floating around. And eventually the snow starts to settle down. And this is the point that you want to get to. When you put the snow globe down, eventually your thoughts will calm down, because you've given up on your need for control. You trying to control things is you grabbing the snow globe and shaking and shaking and shaking, and then questioning, why is the snow floating around so much? So this is at the core of how I broke the loop recently of overthinking, because I noticed that I was thinking of overthinking and it was affecting me in such a negative and intense way. So this is where I put the snow globe down. And this is the sentences that really help with this is, I let go of control. Like, I can't control this. I can't control my overthinking. This shaking the snow globe is you just thinking that you are in control, but you are not in control. You are trying to control the uncontrollable with overthinking. That is what's happening. And that's why you feel out of control. And you think by thinking more about it, it gives you this false sense of control, but you're not in control. And that is the thing. You have to give up control. You have to, and the way that I go about this, I really say these sentences out loud. I write them down and I say them out loud over and over again. I really feel, what does it feel like if I put the snow globe down? I no longer need this control. I am not in control. I can't control my thinking. I can't control the situation. I am giving up control. And especially this sentence, I'm giving up on control. And this is not the giving up as in, oh, I give up on life. Like, I give up on this part specifically. I don't give up on myself. I can definitely do the things that I want to be doing, the things that are inside of my control, but there are certain things that are outside of my control. And I remember I went to a speaking event where the speaker mentioned, I'm giving up. He did this with his hands. I'm giving up control, because you give up control to, let's say, outside influences. And this is where I'm a bit more spiritual, and to define spirituality very simple is, I believe that spirituality means that you believe in outside things that you can't observe, that you can't hold with your hands. You believe that there are these outside things like energy, a God, a creator, anything like that, that is influencing your existence on this planet. And that's why I believe religion can be very powerful. That's why I believe faith. That's why I believe spirituality in itself is so powerful. Because right now it feels like you're all by yourself trying to control every single thing. But what if you give up control? And this is where the sentence that I also hold close to me is, I allow life to unfold as it wants to unfold. I let the chips fall where they may. Because when it comes to my future, I can't control everything. And the reason why your ego wants to control every single thing, even your overthinking, is because it wants to protect you. And especially your identity, your self-image, the way that you think about yourself. And not just the way that you think about yourself, but also the way that other people perceive you. So it's all about protecting that identity. So you don't want something bad to happen. That's why you're overthinking, because what if people think like this about you? What if you destroy your self-image and you aren't that person that you thought you were, or anything like that? So that's why your ego is keeping you small. And that's why when I say allowing life to unfold, I also loosen the grip on this overthinking. I can't control this. I allow life to unfold because my ego wants this. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to go to this direction. But what if something different is meant for you that you can't see right now? Because what if there's a path laid out for you, uniquely to you? And your ego says, well, I want to become a millionaire. But what if there's a different direction for you that is way more meaningful and purposeful? Maybe you are supposed to experience certain negative situations because this is part of your path. Maybe you are supposed to experience these judgments or the failures or the setbacks and even this overthinking. What if this overthinking is right now given to you for you to really become the master of, instead of having the overthinking be the master of you? And this is how you start to interpret life differently. You're no longer trying to control everything. You're allowing things to unfold. You're no longer trying to control outcomes. You're no longer trying to control your path. You just flow with life. It's a completely different experience. And this is not where I'm saying become passive and do nothing anymore. Like, these two worlds can be in harmony with each other. You can be very active and take initiative in the things that you want to be creating. So the actions are inside of your control. But what happens after the action is taken? For example, what happens after the video is posted? You can't control the views. You can't control the likes. You can't control going viral. You can control what you're creating, and you allow the chips to fall as they may. Because you never know what's meant for you on this journey. Maybe you're not supposed to go viral. Maybe there's a deeper lesson in here that was meant for you, that you want to be receiving through you just taking that action and trusting and walking with faith. So that's the place that you want to get back to. Only control the things that are inside of your control, which is the way that you respond to the overthinking. So put down the snow globe. This is inside of your control. This is how I stopped it. I just kept repeating these phrases. I am not the one in control. Who do I think I am? Look at what is happening on this earth. Look at all the different things that are affecting your existence. Who do I think I am? Like, how arrogant do I think I am that I can be in control of everything that's happening, of how my life is unfolding? Like, I have no clue. And this is also the thing that I get to, like, who am I? Like, why am I so arrogant to think that I can be the one in control of all of these things? Like, life is so complex, which also makes it beautiful. Like, life is so complex. There are so many things outside of your control. And that's why go with the flow of life. Where does life want to take you? Even if it's an uncomfortable direction, because if you look back at your life and some failures happened, you can see that over time, you can see why you received that failure. And you wouldn't even call a failure, why you received that intense situation. Maybe a death of a loved one. Why you received that illness, similar to me in my life. Why did I get ill 2 times in my 20s? I spent half of my 20s ill. Like, of course, and this is where I could see the overthinking. When you start to resist a situation, I don't want to be overthinking. When you're not okay with overthinking, you start to get stuck in the overthinking more. So this is the quicksand example where you are in the quicksand, which is maybe you're overthinking. Maybe it's a situation that you're in right now. I don't want to be in conflict here. I don't want to go bankrupt here. I don't want to go through this breakup. I don't want to experience these feelings. And now you start to resist it and start to move in quicksand. And what happens is you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can't get out of it. What you resist persists. So can you be okay with the overthinking? And this is, again, a question that I ask myself. Can I be okay with this overthinking? Can I be okay with these uncomfortable feelings? Am I okay if I know that this is going to continue for weeks, days or weeks? Can I be okay with that? Can I accept that? Not as in it's not going to change anymore and I'm not going to live life anymore, but the acceptance is, can I see reality as it is? Instead of reality should be like this. So this is the ego again. I should become a millionaire instead of receiving these deeper lessons that are meant for you on your journey, that are way more purposeful and meaningful to you. Like, it needs to be like this, similar to I need to feel like this. So now the ego has an idea of what reality should be like. It should be like this and reality is like this. So now you're in conflict. These things don't match. So now you're stuck. So acceptance means that you remove that expectation of what life is supposed to be like. Because how do I know? This is the same place that I get to. Who am I to think that I know what life is supposed to be like? Who do I think I am that I know exactly what my path is supposed to be like? Like, I have no clue. Like, we have no idea what we're doing here on this earth in a lot of cases. Like, what are we doing here? So how are we supposed to know what life is supposed to be like? Like, you don't. I don't know. So this is where you come back into acceptance, as in you meet reality as it is. You meet reality as you are experiencing it. And it's okay. There is no judgment. There's no right and wrong. And you can make the most grounded and most intentional or powerful or most loving decision moving forward from that place. That's the place that you want to get to. So these are just some angles. And I know this sounded more like a rant, but these are just some angles that I touched upon eventually with my overthinking to break that loop. Because I can control it. And once I touched into these places, once I put down that motherfucking snow globe, that's when I started to feel peace. Like, you feel almost this heaviness is being lifted off you because you stop controlling things. You can't control almost anything in life. There are not many things that you can control. What you can control is that you put that snow globe down. What you can control is your actions, the way that you respond to it. What you can control is the way that you relate to life, and not in a form of resistance and with form of expectations, but you meet life as it is. You meet yourself exactly where you are right now, instead of where you are supposed to be in your mind. And that's how you also break that loop of overthinking.